Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala rasulihil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Today we'll go through hadith number 9, inshallah ta'ala. We have done 8 hadiths of Imam An-Nawawi. So today's hadith is also like any other hadith. It's a very beautiful hadith and a very important hadith. All of the hadiths from our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is beautiful, is full of wisdom, and obviously there is something to learn about, and that's why it is come from the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as we do every week, before we go to the hadith number 9, we'll go through the 8 hadiths that we have done to refresh our memory, just to know that what were the topics of those hadiths. So to start with, basically the first hadith, as we all know, the innamal amanu bin niyat, that was described by Umar ibn Khattab. The second hadith is the hadith of Jibril, that is also from Umar ibn Khattab. Then Islam is based on 5 pillars, that is from his son Abdullah ibn Umar. And the fourth hadith was from Abdullah ibn Masud, about the creation of the fetus in the womb of the mother, and also how the qadr is working for each man and each person. Also then the next hadith was from Aisha radhiyallahu anha, that is that innovation in deen is rejected. So anything that is new in the deen introduced, that must be rejected if it is not followed through the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the next hadith, hadith number 6, was from Nu'man ibn Bashir. He was a little boy, a boy of 10 years old, when he heard this hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The hadith was halal is clear, haram is clear, and whatever is doubtful, we should reject that. And in doing that, we keep our iman, we keep our righteousness, and keep our purity of the heart. And in that hadith, Islam said there's one part of your body, if that is clean, everything is clean. If that is not clean, it's corrupt, everything is corrupt, and that is your heart. And the 7th hadith we did from Tamim ad-Dari. We talked about the Sahaba Tamim ad-Dari, how he was famous, how he has the hadith of the Dajjal and everything. We talked about that. And also we said that this hadith was the deen ad-dinun nasiha. The deen is the sincerity on nasiha. What is the sincerity? The sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His books, His Rasuls, and to the leaders of the ummah, and also the brothers among the society of the Muslim. And the last hadith that we did last week, that is Rasulullah said from the Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn Khattab, that I have been ordered, or I have been commanded to fight the people until they testify. And we discussed and explained the hadith, what this hadith mean, what is the context and everything. That what does it mean in our time and everything. That Rasulullah was ordered for, some scholars say this is the people of the mushrik and mushrik, so that because they were not accepting Islam, so that is the commandment for only for those people. And some scholars say no, it is for all the people, depending on the call of the Khulafa Rashidin. So let's go to today's hadith, inshallah ta'ala. Today is hadith number 9. And this hadith is narrated by Abu Huraira, Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhar radhiyallahu anh, and he said that he heard Rasulullah say, avoid that which I forbid you. Whatever Rasulullah said is haram, avoid that completely. And then he said, whatever I told you to do at the best of your ability. Definitely, verily, the people before you has been destroyed. Why? Because they have excessive questioning and disagreement with their Prophet. So it's a beautiful hadith, and this hadith is found in Bukhari and Muslim. So this is a muttafaq alayhi hadith, and also this is found in the Musnad ibn Ahmad, of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Also is found in some other books like Ibn Majah and Nasai and some other books. So this is a famous and a Sahih hadith that is both found in that is found both in Bukhari and Muslim. So let's discuss the hadith. Before we discuss, there's a background of this hadith, the context of the hadith. That one of the Bedouin one day was sitting in a gathering with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah was talking about Hajj. He was saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Hajj obligatory on you, so you should go and do Hajj. So people should go and Hajj. This is how he said. So from the hadith, the context, we can know that it is probably almost the end of the life of Rasulullah. We know Hajj become fard at the very end. Even after the victory of Makkah, the Hajj was being obligatory for the Muslim. So this is probably at that time Rasulullah said this hadith. So he said that Hajj has been obligated on you, so do Hajj whenever you have means. Then one of the Bedouin asked, Ya Rasulullah, should you do every year? Rasulullah didn't answer him. Then he again asked, should you do every year? Rasulullah didn't answer him. And the third time Rasulullah said, he said this hadith. Whatever I told you to forbid, whatever I forbid you, avoid it completely. And whatever I told you to do as the best of your ability. And verily, the people of the past has been, destroyed because of excessive questioning and disagreement with the Prophet. So what does Islam mean? Then if you ask too much of this, Allah will maybe make it obligatory on you for every year to do Hajj. And that will be very difficult for the Ummah. So that's what Rasulullah said, no, if I'm not giving you any information, don't ask question that is not, given the information for. So, so there is etiquette for questioning that we'll go through today, and this is why the Rasulullah made this hadith. He said this hadith. Now, we talked about the background. Now we'll talk about the narrator of the hadith. And he is no other than Abu Huraira. And this is the first time out of this 9 hadiths we got his name. There are hadiths that we discussed before. Those hadiths also described by Abu Huraira in different books or in a different narration. And but we didn't. But the Imam An-Nawawi get the narration of the Umar ibn Khattab. The first hadith, as we said, all the books of the hadith, almost all the books of the hadith has that hadith. Innamal a'malu binniyat, and that is also described from Abu Huraira. But this one is actually particularly this is done only from him, the Abu Huraira. Now, who was Abu Huraira? And he is a very famous hadith describer. As you know, he is the only one who described the most number of hadiths. Abu Huraira is the only Sahaba. He is the highest number of hadiths has been narrated by Abu Huraira, and the number is 5,374 to be exact. Some scholars say, most of the scholars say, and some scholars say no, it will be more than 6,000. But there are some hadiths daif and everything. But it is the number is 5,374. Now Abu Huraira, if you want to know about him, because he's so important, we have to go back a little bit further down. When we did the Seerah of Rasulullah Sallallahu if you remember, when Rasulullah was in Makkah, when he became prophet, in the first few years of the time, the mushrik was getting violent with Rasulullah Sallallahu, and they have different criteria. They are offering money to Rasulullah to leave what he is preaching, leave the Islam. They try to attack him and all kind of things that Quraysh was doing. So one of the year, probably the 6th year of the Dawah, so that time Rasulullah was 46 years old, or maybe something like this. There was a guy came from Yemen. That guy was named Tufail ibn Amr. Tufail ibn Amr. When he came to Makkah to do Hajj, because the Jahili time, they also have their Hajj. They used to come and worship their own God, making tawaf, different. They have the different rules of Hajj and everything at that time. So this Tufail ibn Amr came from Yemen, and when he came into the Makkah, people of the Quraysh, they said, "Oh Tufail, we know that you are a good people. You come here all the time, every year. But make sure this year there is a guy from us. That he's from among us. He's from our family. But he's been crazy. Astaghfirullah. So they call us, and he's a magician. So don't listen to him. If he call you, if you try to say something from he said he has something from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala that this is something divine. So they are talking about the Quran. If he says something like this, put your finger in your ear." So they are talking this to Tufail ibn Amr. So what Tufail did, he put cottons in the ear, and he went around the Kaaba, and he saw Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sitting there, and he was reciting something. Although he has cotton in the ear, he heard a little bit of that Rasulullah reciting something. So then he talked to himself, I'm not a stupid person. What magic he's gonna do by saying some words? Let's hear what this guy, why everybody is talking about him. Let's go and talk to him. So Tufail ibn Amr went to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he sat down and he asked, your people talked about this. What is that you have got? Then Rasulullah, introduced himself. He said, I am the Nabi of Allah. I am the Rasul of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And it is said in some books of the Seerah that Rasulullah only recited Suratul Ikhlas, Surah Falak, and Surah Nas. These 3 surah has been recited to Tufail ibn Amr, because he wanted to listen that what is this new thing that you got. Let me hear this. So only these 3 short surah Rasulullah recited to Tufail ibn Amr, and he accepted Islam right away. He said, this is cannot from me, man. It is definitely from the God, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and I believe that you are the true messenger of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So he accepted Islam at that time. And then he said, I will go to my tribes, because he was the tribe leader of the Ad-Daus. Daus was the name of the tribe of this Tufail ibn Amr. He said, I'll go back to my tribe and I'll spread the Islam. And he also offered Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, why don't you come to Yemen? Because you're looking for, I heard that people are after you here, and you're looking to go someplace. So why don't you come over to the Yemen? But then Rasulullah said, no, Allah hasn't given the permission to left the Makkah yet, so I'm waiting for the instruction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this Tufail ibn Umar ad-Dawsi, he went back to his tribe. And it was said that in very short time, he spread the message of Islam, and almost 80 families accepted Islam from his hand. And one of the family was the family of Abu Huraira. Actually, his name was not Abu Huraira. Abu Huraira is a nickname. His name was Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhar. And some narration says actually his name was Abdul Shams, the son of Shams. But then Rasulullah changed his name to Abdul Rahman. And Abu Huraira means, hir means in Arabic cat. So he had a cat, a pet cat. So Rasulullah gave him a nickname, Abu Huraira, the father of the cat. And that's why his name became Abu Huraira. Can anybody tell there's another famous Sahaba whose pet name with an animal? Like Abu Huraira is a father of an animal, like a cat. There's another Sahaba, very famous Sahaba. His name is also like this. Anybody can tell this? You all know his name. Abu Bakr. Very good. Abu Bakr. Bakr means a small camel, or a small calf or something like this, or a small like a agile camel, a young camel. So his name was also not Abu Bakr. His name was Abdul Rahman ibn Usman. So they changed it to Abu Bakr as a nickname. So anyway, so Abu Huraira, he came to Medina to see. He accepted Islam from Tufail ibn Amr, but he came to Medina very late. Almost some scholars say at the end of the 7th year of Hijrah. So just before Rasulullah died, like 2 years or maximum 3 years before Rasulullah passed away. So he was with Rasulullah only for 3 years, maximum 3 or 3.5 years. And with this short time, he memorized so many hadiths, and he discussed so many, how it is possible. When he came from Yemen to Medina, he is not a muhajir like people from Makkah, and he is not from Medina. So he stayed in the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he stayed at the back of the masjid of Rasulullah, where it is called Ahl Suffa. Those people who used to stay in the masjid of Rasulullah, they used to always learn Quran and memorize the hadith and try to learn something from the deen and the fiqh, all these things. And they depend on the food of the people. So people around them, the Sahaba, they used to bring food for them. So Abu Huraira said in his own description that he had a lot of days, he had a hungry stomach at that time. And sometimes he used to play a trick to have some food with the Sahaba. So a Sahaba came to masjid and he is hungry, but he cannot just beg to the Sahaba, give me food. Because begging is not allowed in Islam. It is not look good that asking food like this. So what he used to do, because he knows so much of things, he used to ask the Sahaba, do you know about this ayah or something? And he started making a conversation with the Sahaba. So Sahaba started walking from the masjid to the home, and he used to keep elongating the conversation with the Sahaba. And as soon as they reached the home of the Sahaba, he knew that it is a custom of the Muslim brother to offer him something. Now you are at his home. So okay, brother, sit down. Would you like to have something? Maybe a bread or something, meat or whatever, date, whatever it is. So he used to make this trick, and he used to go to the people of the Sahaba, the other people, and he used to get food like this. So that much hungry he was, and he'll give up everything. It is not that he was poor. In Yemen he has money and everything, but he left everything to come to Medina to Rasulullah to learn about the deen. And he also mentioned that one day Rasulullah was describing, and he said, today I'm going to make a dua. Whoever will lay his cloak in Arabic means whoever will sit down with Rasulullah, basically, sit down with relaxed mode. That's the literal meaning. Whenever they sit down, I will make a dua for him, and as soon as he cover up the cloak, the turban they have, they will remember everything. So there was nobody at that time in the Ahl Suffa except for Abu Huraira. So he sit down in front of Rasulullah, and Rasulullah said a hadith, and he made a dua that Ya Allah, give him the power of memorization, or make him a good memory, make his memory very good, so that he never forget. And Abu Huraira said after that day he never forget anything that Rasulullah said. He was called, his another name was Sayyidul Huffaz. He is the Sayyid, the leader of all the Huffaz of this time. Also in another day, one day Rasulullah said that there is some Sahaba, Zaid bin Sa'id, Zaid bin Harisa, Abu Huraira, they're talking in front of the masjid. And they're making dua for each other. They're saying, I heard this dua from Rasulullah. And Rasulullah coming from there, and he had and he's saying Amin to the dua of one of the Sahaba. Then another Sahaba made another dua, and Rasulullah said Amin. When Rasulullah said Amin, meaning that dua is accepted. So that's why they're making dua after dua to get Amin from Rasulullah. Abu Huraira was there, and he was quickly made up his mind. He said, Yo Allah, make me the power of memorization, so that I will never forget what I learned from your deen. And Rasulullah said, Amin. when Abu Huraira said this dua, the other Sahaba, Zayd bin Sabit, he said, Ya Rasulullah, make the same dua for me. The Rasulullah said, this young boy from Ad-Daws, he already had this dua. So he got this dua. And this is why he was Abu Huraira, and he can memorize so many things. And there is a book still in the market, the other group of the Muslim and also some non-Muslim, because he knows the majority of the Sunnah. Imagine 5,000 hadiths from him. So if you can attack Abu Huraira, some people say from the other group, like the Shiite, and they said there is nobody called Abu Huraira. They want to attack his existence. They want to vanish Abu Huraira. If Abu Huraira is gone, most of the hadith is gone. So you cannot do anything based on hadith. Because if you say there is no Abu Huraira, it's finished. And that's why his real name, Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhar, there are 27 opinions about his real name. Because everybody is to know him by Abu Huraira, Abu Huraira, Abu Huraira. So nobody knows his real name. So there are 27 opinions what his name, but majority opinion is that his name was Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhar. And also there is a story of his mother that his mother was a non-Muslim when he was in Medina, and he was to preach to her all the time, but she never used to listen to her. And one day she said very bad things about Rasulullah. And Abu Huraira came into tears because his mother, he cannot do anything bad with the mothers. So Abu Huraira came back to Rasulullah and told Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, my mother never listened to me, never listened to Islam, but today she said something bad about you. Then Rasulullah made dua for his mother, and his mother accepted the dua, accepted Islam with the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this was Abu Huraira radhiyallahu ta'ala an. Now let's go to the hadith. This hadith has 3 parts. First of all, staying away from the haram. And Rasulullah said, whatever I forbid, you stay away from this. So haram, when Rasulullah talked about the thing that is not, for things that is forbidden, he said, completely avoid those things. And when he talked about the halal things and the obligatory thing, he said, do as much as you can. Now there are 2 types of haram in our Sharia. One is the haram al-qabair, means that is completely forbidden, like the drinking alcohol, the riba, the zina, and telling lies, the ghiba, all these things are completely forbidden. And we must avoid this. And there are another kind of haram that if you do it, it's makruh. So it is discouraged. But if you do, there is no sin for this. But you should try to avoid this one. And scholar says, that most of the scholars says, it is more important to avoid the major haram first. Then you do something good. Meaning, it's like this, because their logic, suppose, I give you an example. In the Ramadan time, right, our masjid is filled up. So they are doing a commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it is the obligation for us to fast in the month of Ramadan. But most of those people, maybe they are included in some other haram. Maybe they have been involved in riba. Maybe their source of income is not the right way to income the source. Maybe they have something lacking in the 5-time salah. After the Ramadan finish, they are not coming to the salah. So they are going through that way. So haram is more important. But there are some famous scholars, they said the other way. No, they said no. Doing the halal is first. Then avoid the haram. Who said this? Ibn Taymiyyah and his student, Ibn al-Qayyim. Why? And their logic is that, look at the story of Adam and Iblis. Allah told Adam not to eat from the tree. So that was a prohibition. And Allah told Iblis to do something, to do sujood to Adam. And whose punishment was greater? Iblis. Iblis didn't follow the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why he became Iblis. He became, a rajim, right? And on the other hand, Adam alayhi salam did not listen to the thing that Allah forbidden, but Allah forgive him. So that is their logic. They know you should do the goods. But most of the majority of the scholars say, and it is not a fixed rule, but you have to understand as a Muslim, what is the priority for you. But to avoid the haram, it comes first, as Rasulullah said. And when Rasulullah said about the haram, he didn't say avoid haram as a wasted ability. He said avoid haram completely. So you cannot say, oh, look, I used to have 1 bottle of alcohol every day, now I am doing half a glass. You cannot do that. This is my ability, I cannot do more than this. No, you have to leave the haram completely as you can, depending on the level of the haram. The second part, obviously, the doing the obligatory as much as you can. And even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, Surah Al-Taghabun, Allah said, فَاتَّقُوا مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. And the same word used in the Hadith, meaning you fear Allah, you fear that your taqwa, attain your taqwa as much as you can, to the best of your ability. But who's going to judge your ability? Only you can judge it, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how much you can do. Now if I ask some brother, why aren't you memorizing the Quran? Maybe that brother has some problem with the memory. He cannot remember. Only he knows that. Or some brothers, they're saying, okay, I'm trying, but actually he's not trying. He's just making it up. They're just giving an excuse to the people. Some brother, they're sitting at home, they have car and everything, but they can come to masjid in the Fajr. They have all the abilities, all the means Allah given them, but still they're making, oh, I couldn't wake up. They can wake up for their work, but they cannot come to the masjid for the prayer. Just, the changing the alarm clock is too much difficult for them. So, so this is not the best of the ability. So who can tell you the best of the ability? Only you yourself can judge how much time I can put for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much effort, how much energy I can give for the masjid or for the deen or for learning the deen, whatever it is. You have the one to choose the ability. The third part and the last part of the hadith is that the questioning, the etiquette. There are a lot of people, they ask question to the sheikh because, we don't have Rasulullah in front of us. So the hadith says the disagreement with the prophets. We can't have that one in reality because we are not Sahaba. We don't have Rasulullah to ask question to him. But still that some of us has the etiquette of asking question just to show, to make an argument. They ask the sheikh, why is happening this way? Why not this way? And this was tradition not only now. It was a tradition even in the Tabi'un time. People used to ask so many silly questions that, what's happened if we do this one? What happened if we do this one? And Imam Malik said, has the thing happened you're talking about? So one of the Sahaba, one of the person at that time asked, what if I get a flying carpet? The magical carpet. Can I pray on the carpet? If I pray, should I standing up pray? How do I do wudu in the flying carpet? All these things. Then Imam said, do you have the flying carpet? If it is come to you, then you come to me and I'll give you the fatwa. So there are people who question like this to make the thing. Even in the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, we know there was a Sahaba, he came and he asked so many questions like this, why Allah said in the Quran like this, why not this like this way, why not this way, which is Rasulullah never explained. And then Allah said himself in the Quran, there are some ayah that is only for the people of ulul albab. In time and in research and everything, those things will come up. You don't have to worry about those ones. The ahkam are very clear. The most of the ayat are clear. You follow those ones. And the one that you don't understand, you go to the ulama and the ulama will explain depending on the time. There are so many scientific ayah of the Quran as we know now, right? These are not explained to the Sahaba. They didn't understand the science, the Big Bang theory, the what's happening with we can see in the ultrasonogram now, what is an alaq, what is the baby fetus and all these things. They couldn't know these things. And they said, Samiyana wa atana. Whatever Rasulullah said, we listen and obey. That is the true nature of the Muslim. So inshallah ta'ala we'll finish it here, this hadith. And next week we'll go to the hadith number 10. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.